Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 8. So we are it's about 6 weeks away, I think, from the premiere of The Flash Season 8, which of course does kick off with that heavily promoted, or somewhat promoted, 5-part Armageddon event, which will be filling the void of just no crossover across all the DC TV shows this season, once again due to the unsure nature of filming during COVID. But in 2 weeks we will have DC Fandom, which is really weird because it only feels like yesterday when we had the last DC Fandom. Does anyone feel like it wasn't too long ago? But yeah, at this year's DC Fandom, we should be getting the first trailer for Season 8, which will of course focus on the Armageddon event, as I think they might still be filming it when DC Fandom happens, or it would have just moved into the normal part of the season of, normal part of filming for the season at that point, so after the event. But even if they have finished the Armageddon event, they wouldn't have footage ready to show at DC Fandom for the other stuff afterwards. However, they definitely should reveal information on what's going to be happening after that event, whether that be the villain or villains coming later, or just, general information on what's coming next. But yeah, as I said, they are still filming the Armageddon event, and as we have known, characters such as like Ray Palmer or the Atom, Black Lightning, and Batwoman appear to have done all their filming for the event, and it appears that the characters will appear in an episode each, so it seems each episode will either focus on a guest character or revolve around something that will just heavily involve them. Regardless, it's still going to be cool to see all those, all those character crossovers happen. Now, the next guest star character we know that is filming right now is that of Mia Queen, or Mia Smoke. I think she is officially known as Mia Queen now in the Arrowverse. Of course, this being the daughter of Oliver Queen, aka Green Arrow, played by Catherine McNamara. Now, she posted a picture on the various social media channels revealing that she was back in character and filming for The Flash. And this was actually accompanied by some quotes from Eric Wallace, the showrunner for The Flash, who was asked about Mia and her placement within the Arrowverse, or specifically the timeline, and how that plays into the event. So this is what was said by TV Line. Arrow's Mia also figures into the action, even though in The Flash's timeline, she won't be her grown-up self for another 19 years or so, right? Well, technically yes, but who knows? Showrunner Eric Wallace told TV Line when we asked about Mia's presence. We are dealing with speedsters who can travel through time, he allowed. Now, Eric Wallace also followed up with this quote later in the article in question from TV Line, which I will leave link to the description down below if you care about it. It's going to be a true event for Flash and Arrowverse fans, old and new, Eric Wallace said in a statement. Honestly, I can't wait for audiences to see what we've got planned. Now, for those that don't know, Mia Queen is situated and comes from the future. In this case, 2040. That's where the current version of the character that we know and have met is from. Well, she was from that last time we saw her towards the end of Arrow's final season. Now, I would assume that when we pick back up with her, that they may have allowed a bit of time to pass by, whether that be just for general character development in the background, or just to line up with how much time we've passed in the present day since we last saw her, which would be, well, actually, it would be over a year. It'd be almost 2 years. So I don't know how long they're going to make it pass in her time. So maybe we pick up with her a year later from the time we last saw her in the future, or maybe 2. But I'd say a year, so that would make it 2041. And as I said in a video previously when discussing the Armageddon event, the Armageddon storyline in the comics involves something happening 10 years later than the present day. So they could have a nod to that with something happening in 2041, which would be 20 years later than the present day of the Arrowverse. Of course, we still don't know exactly what the story is for the event outside of Despero, the villain, or the supposed villain, coming to Earth, and it appears that he was banished either to Earth or just away from his homeland. But regardless of the reason behind him showing up on Earth, we know that whatever goes on in the event will be touching many bases across the Arrowverse to bring all these guest characters into play and into the story. Now, in regards to the time travel aspect that Eric Wallace brings up in that quote, it will be very interesting to see the reason behind the time travel, because no overly brought out offense to Mia Queen, but I don't see a scenario in which something is going on in the present day and they think to themselves, the only solution to this problem is to bring Mia Queen back from the future to help us. I mean, that could happen. You'd have to suspend a bit of belief that would be the thought that goes through their head, but I think you'd just be jumping over some logical logs to get there. So it does make you think that the Flash or another speedster, whatever it might be, will be forced to go to that future because something is happening there, and then the general run-in with Mia happens at that point. Or they go, okay, we're in this present time, who do we know that's here? And then Mia's there. Now, we know that Bart or Impulse, Nora or XS, and Jay Garrick are back for this event, but it seems like it may be just for one episode and a late episode, like maybe the final episode of the actual event, which could be this episode that Mia Queen is going to be in. So yeah, this episode could be like the episode that is most speedster heavy, because it does feature that time travel aspect, but also it would be nearing the end of the event, as it could be the last one. So things, could or would be heating up towards a final battle. It would be cool if the final, fight took place in a future setting, though, maybe with some other cameos of future heroes from the Arrowverse, if it's possible. That would be definitely pretty damn cool, and also be very, very fan servicey. Now, on the topic of time travel, we did have the reveal of an alliance or team up between both Reverse Flash, Eobard Thawne, and Damien Darhk throughout this Armageddon event, or maybe in just one episode. We don't know specifically how big or small it is, but this hadn't been stated originally when the event was announced, however long ago it was. Just that those two characters would be in the event along with the other guest characters that were also announced. And it was just casually dropped in like a preview sort of article for the Flash season 8 among a bunch of other shows. Now, you would have to think that if we have some stuff that involves time traveling to the future, to the time of Mia Queen, so the early 2040s, you would think that we could also have some time travel to the past in the timeline, which could include this alliance between Damien Darhk and Reverse Flash, or at the very least set up that alliance, and then maybe we see it properly build up, and that whole team up happen in the present day or something. Now, in regards to this alliance between Eobard and Damien, I am very, very, very curious to see how it plays into the overall story of the event, as well as the main villain of the event, that being Despero. And it makes you wonder, like, is the alliance like associated with Despero, or is it an alliance that is made possible and happens just due to something that Despero brings about? Especially if it doesn't happen like the first 2 episodes. So maybe there's like a trigger point, maybe around episode 2 or 3, like around the middle of it, that brings it about, or something happens that allows it to happen. We're not too sure, but I'm sure there'll be a reason it happens specifically, because if there wasn't something that happened in this event that caused it, then it could just happen at any other time. Now, we know, thanks to various set photos that have come out, that there is a lot of chaos, is probably the best word going on, or best word to use going on, and giving a literal Armageddon feel to this story. So I think whatever happens throughout this event and how this alliance is brought about, at whatever point in the timeline, whether it's the past, present, or future, I don't think it will be the biggest issue that our heroes, or specifically the Flash, will have to deal with. Obviously, there's a lot of other stuff going on, but it definitely will not be making things easier throughout this event, and just how to solve all these problems going on. It's definitely going to be a thorn in the side. But outside of that alliance between Reverse Flash and Damien Darhk, time travel throughout this story and the event as a whole could bring in some pretty cool characters and moments. And of course, we did have that quote I brought up earlier in the video from Eric Wallace, that it's going to be a true event for Flash and Arrowverse fans, old and new. So that gets me excited to see what they have coming our way in regards to that fan service side of the crossover event thing. They go old and new. So new, they could include like the Batwoman side of it, even the Mia Queen side of it. But with the old, are they saying that there's something that, if you've been watching the Arrowverse from day dot or really early on, that there's even some really cool stuff going on in this event from that as well. So that just gets me excited to see what they have coming our way in regards to that fan service side of the crossover event thing, which we do usually get a chunk of in the normal yearly crossovers. Like, there's always a good serving of fan service. Obviously, Crisis on Infinite Earths was definitely the biggest serving of that, but even the ones in the past, especially when we've had like more than 2 shows involved in crossovers, you've always had that big serving of fan service, and I'd be expecting it this time around as well. But yeah, I'm sure we'll find out more about the premise and just overall, finer details for the event at DC Fandom during the Flash's time in that schedule, along with that always long-awaited trailer for the season. Now, they haven't released the schedule for DC Fandom at this point in time, but from memory, last year, they only dropped it like the week before. So we still got about 2 weeks, or just over 2 weeks, I think. I think actually the day this video goes out will be 2 weeks and 1 day. So we could expect in about a week's time from now that they will drop the schedule, and we'll know exactly when various things are on. Unfortunately, it is all on 1 day again. There's been a bit of controversy around that because it didn't really work last time to the extent that they wanted it to, because it was on 1 day. But maybe they might sort it out, and maybe it works better on 1 day this time around. But we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it's not just a bit messy like it was last time, but let's wait and see. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be awesome. You could drop a like and it shows support. And just if you're excited for what's coming in this Armageddon event, let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on all of this. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I will catch you guys later. And goodbye.